Hi, it's Steph, and today I'm at a local to me nursery located in Attleboro, Massachusetts called Briggs. And check out these beautiful coleus planters they have by their front entrance. This nursery is actually a really beautiful place, and I wish that I could get here more often, but I try to get here at least a couple of times every season. And they have all of their spring blooming bulbs out. Now these are bulbs that you plant in the fall, and then you'll get the blooms in the spring. And it looks like they're just starting to stock all of these. But they have all of these alliums. Check this out. They're these huge bulbs, so that right there will tell you how big this bloom is going to be. They're part of the onion family, which is why it looks like a big old garlic or onion, right? So they have the gladiator, the ambassador. These are really beautiful, really large variety of allium. Let's see what else they have. So they have, the gladiator, ambassador, and I think that's it for the large variety. And then they have this one here, which might be the purple sensation. No, it says that it's 5 giant gladiator alliums. I wonder how much these, $15.99 for the large pack here. And you get 5, so that's actually not a bad deal. The bulbs also are pretty good size. I actually came here today looking for specific Japanese maple, Skeeter's broom. So we're going to see if they have any out in the yard. And I'm also seeing if they have any interesting fall shrubs. So let's go look around. Look at this beautiful obelisk here. It's like a garden trellis, really. But I love the patina on it. It's got a nice rust look to it. Looks like it's been in the garden for years. It's a double ball steel topiary. Looks like it's 4.5 feet, $79.99. Not bad. This would be great to have clematis growing on, or even a rose, a climber. The rose might obstruct the shape too much, but definitely clematis or some other kind of climbing vine. Look at all these shrubs. Hydrangeas. They have some limelight standards in the back there. Lots of variety. So if you're local to Massachusetts or even some parts of Rhode Island, this would be a wonderful nursery for you to visit. They have some of the proven winners, Winecraft Black Smoke Bush. And look how pretty that foliage is. And some little bunny dwarf fountain grass. Beautiful for fall, both the grass and this shrub. Look at this ginkgo. They have really cool fan-like leaves, and they turn a beautiful yellow. But the yellow only lasts for a couple of days, and then they drop all their leaves. Do you grow ginkgos? I don't yet, but I really like them, so that's the information that I've gathered so far. But if you know anything about them, share in the comments. I'd be interested to know. Look at this cool shrub with some berries. I thought this was a winter berry, but it's something called Cotton Easter. Autumn Inferno Cotton Easter. Wow, it looks like it's Autumn Inferno, has great form, easily pruned, and clean foliage in vibrant fall color. And it has small red berries in fall for late season interest. Looks like it's hardy in zones 5 through 7, gets to be 5 to 6 in height and 4 to 5 in width. $44.99 for this one here. But look at all those berries here. And Korean Spice Viburnum. I actually bought one of these this summer at the Home Depot, and I'm planning on planting it out this fall. It says that it's deer resistant, and in spring they get these really large clusters of white blooms that almost look like they could be hydrangeas. Little Goblin Winterberry Holly. So these are winterberry, and they say that they're dwarf, so they get to be, 3 to 5 feet tall and wide. And it's native, it likes sun and part shade. And look at that with the berries. It's already starting to fill the fruit out here, and then pretty soon they'll be all red. These do need a pollinator in order to get berries, and it says use Little Goblin Guy Holly as a pollinator. Look at this Autumn Beauty Clematis in full bloom. Pollinators all over them. Let me see if I can say this right. Anemones? Anemones. I think I got it. So this one here is the Pocahontas Windflower. And this one looks to be a double. Look at that. Has ruffly petals. These are really sweet perennials for the late summer, early fall garden. I think these half-face planters are so cool. Look at them. I'm not sure what you would plant it up with, but I like them. They have some bamboo, so if you have like like a Japanese maple garden like I do, this would be a good option for like a living wall. But with bamboo, what I've learned is that you want to get clumping varieties and not running varieties so that they don't become too invasive. We found the area with the Japanese maples, so we're gonna poke around, and of course we're looking for a red one, a bright red one, and George was quickly drawn to those there, but we already have this one in our garden. It's the Fire Glow Japanese maple, and it's nice and red. It's a real pretty one, but we're gonna look around a little bit more and see if we find the one that we came here in search of. They have lots of bloodgood, and this is the traditional red Japanese maple that you see in most people's front yard landscape. And it's a good size. It looks like it's a number 15 for $3.50. It's really pretty red foliage. So let's keep looking. I'm really hoping that we can find a skeeter's broom. They have more of a columnar shape with pretty bright red foliage, the skeeters. So that's what we're looking for. And I found my other favorite part of the garden center, the evergreens. Look at this golden hinoki here. Stunning. And then it looks like there is some kind of icebreaker in the back there. So this here is a Cypress Hinoki Golden, and this is a 3 to 4 foot size for $1.95. But look at this growth habit. It's got a really wispy, kind of graceful habit in this beautiful golden color. So pretty. And then here is the icebreaker variety. Well, it looks like an icebreaker. They usually have a smaller shrub that's kind of round that they called the icebreaker. And this one here is a Korean Cyberlock, it says, Korean fir, and it's $1.25. But look at this gorgeous, I guess you could call it foliage on evergreens too, right? It has this beautiful white color. They almost look like pine cones. Just a really unique growth habit. $1.25 for this one. Let's see how, if it says, it might be sold. Is that what the tag means? Wonder how big this one would get. Oh, this one's pretty. Good thing we brought my van today instead of my husband's sedan, because that means we have room for plants. Well, I mean, we were planning on bringing it anyway in case we found the Japanese maple, but I might pick up a couple of things along the way. Some more golden hinoki. And then there's like weeping spruces. This one's called Pisces or Abby's green spiral. It's a really cool contorted kind of weeping tree. And then that pretty blue one right there, I have one in my garden and I get asked about it often, so I'll go show you what that is. These are a weeping blue Atlas cedar. So these here are a 4 to 5 height size for $2.75, and they're trained in a serpentine shape, which means that they've, as the tree has grown, they have shaped it into sort of an S shape. And while the wood is soft, it is more pliable, so they're able to train them into this form. But it is a really beautiful weeping type evergreen that stays pretty well behaved because it has that weeping habit, so it doesn't get overly large. And anytime that it sort of sprouts a branch that goes a little haywire, you can kind of just trim it off and it'll keep growing in a nice compact weeping form. So far, no luck in finding the skeeter's broom, but they have another columnar type red Japanese maple called Twombly's Red Sentinel. While this is also a good option, it just leans a little more burgundy instead of the brighter red that the skeeter's has. So we'll continue to look around a little bit more. Okay, I did a little bit of Googling on the size of this tree to see if I could buy it, and it actually gets to be 25 to 30 feet tall and 15 to 20 wide, so much too big for our liking anyhow. But look how beautiful it is. It has these tips that look like they're frosted with snow. Some beautiful arborvitaes, and these are actually by proven winners, and they're a large arborvitae, which looks to be a variety of green giant. So this one is called a Spring Grove Western Arborvitae, and it looks like it is hardy in zones 5 through 8 and gets to be 25 to 30 tall and 10 to 12 wide. Some beautiful hydrangea standards. These look like pinky winkies, the shape of the blooms. Here's a really pretty bright red Japanese maple. This one's called Tamakiyama. And it looks like it gets to be 10 to 12 feet in height. And while it is a really pretty red, it will get pretty wide, and we're looking for that more columnar. But if you're looking for Japanese maples, there's certainly no shortage of them here at this nursery. Lots to choose from. These even look like they're getting their pretty fall color. I'm pretty sure that these are the coral bark maples, or the sangokaku. So what's beautiful about these is they get this really bright chartreusey color foliage, and they change color in fall, so they get a little bit more pink and orange, and it has a really pretty bark here. So it has a red bark, so in the winter, even when the tree is bare, you will have interest with the pretty red bark. There's the label there. Looks like these are 5 to 6 footers. And here's a closer up of the pretty foliage. And the red bark here. These are some cool spruces here. Look at the shape of them. They look really bushy and like they could be compact. But they certainly caught my eye as I was walking by. Let's see what they are. These are called Waldbrunn Dwarf Blue Spruce, P.C. pungens Waldbrunn. And let's see, it's hardy to zone 3, so really hardy, and it gets to be 2 tall by 4 wide. Well, it's slow growing, but you can actually see that it's already much taller than 2 feet. So maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it gets to be 4 feet tall by 2 wide. In any case, it would already be full grown. So if you want to plant an evergreen, just know that even if it is slow growing, it will continue to grow. So you want to plan for sizing accordingly. These are $3.99. They also have this variety called Windflower Wild Swan. It's in anemone that has like a white color with a little bit of purple on the back of the petals there. It's not in bloom yet, but it will be. So this is a great fall bloomer. And if you're concerned with these flowers spreading and becoming invasive, if you buy a variety that reads hybrida, they are less likely to be invasive. So just a little note about anemones. This one here, the Honorine Jobert, I actually just recently added this one to my garden. It's a really beautiful white one. And these look to be $12.99. But this is a great time to visit nurseries if you want things that will bloom late summer and early fall to continue the bloom show in your garden. A pretty dainty one that is actually blooming. This one is called Red Riding Hood Windflower. Anemone Fantasy Red Riding Hood. Look at that. Lots of buds, really pretty bright fuchsia color, and a very dainty bloom. Turtlehead or Chalone, another one I also recently added. They're called turtlehead because they have these cute blooms that look like little turtle heads. The pollinators love them, and they're also a very late summer, early fall bloomer. This variety is called Hot Lips Turtlehead, Chalone Hot Lips. And they like part sun to shade, and they get to be 24 to 48 inches in height and 18 to 20 in width. They also like moist soil. So I actually planted it in a part of my garden that the soil stays a little bit more moist, and so far they're doing well. A gorgeous red bud called Golden Falls. Look at that. Has a weeping habit, and it has this really pretty heart-shaped leaf. And this variety is golden. They also have the red varieties of red buds. But this one is a bit more unique than the red because you don't find it that often. So this one, the Redbud Golden Falls, gets to be 8 by 10 height and 3 to 4 wide. And this one here is 225. Look at the heart-shaped leaves. Really characteristic of red buds. And then in the spring, they get really pretty small purple pink blooms. And then after the blooms are done, they leaf out. The Proven Winners Rock and Grow Coral Jade Sedum. This is a really pretty one. It gets to be like a coral color when it blooms. Right now you can see it's tightly budded and starting to color up a little bit. Has a really nice rounded form. I actually have the Rock and Grow Coral Lemon Coral Jade Lemon Jade Sedum. That's what it is. That's a tongue twister. So I have the other variety, and I'm going to see if I can find a new home for the lemon jade, and then I can replace it with some of this coral jade. Look at that. Really beautiful. It gets to be 16 to 18 inches in height, it looks like, and it likes full sun. It is a perennial. And sedums don't like a ton of water, so if you have a dry, hot spot, perfect for sedum. And it needs 28-inch spacing, hardy in zones 3 through 9. They're also really hardy. And they bloom late summer to early fall. These here are $16.99. This is the variety that I have, the Rock and Grow Lemon Jade. So it has more of a yellow bloom. And it actually looks a little bit taller, which I would prefer a shorter, stockier, sturdy type sedum. So let's see, this one says it gets 16 to 18 inches in height and needs 26-inch spacing. Same hardiness, 3 to 9, zones 3 to 9 or 40 degrees Fahrenheit. But these have more of a yellow coloring. Here's another type of mum that you could consider growing instead of the annual mums that you could buy that are decorative and seasonal for this time of year. This here is a variety called October Glory. And these are more perennial. They come back year after year and they're really beautiful. They bloom in fall, so they're one of the latest plants to bloom in your garden. And these here are hardy in zones 5 through 9. It looks like they like sun to part shade. These are all budded up and will be blooming soon. Some cardinal flower, also all budded and getting ready to bloom. Lobelia Starship Scarlet blooms in late summer. $14.99 for these. They also like sun to part shade and hardy in zones 5 through 9. They're native, which is always good. Couple more varieties of those species mums. This one is October Glory Cambodian Queen, so it has a pink coloring. And then this one here, which is a real popular one. In fact, I just added one to my garden, a friend shared with me, and it is the Sheffield Pink, and it's a really light peach, beautiful shade of color. I guess it could be a pink, but I think it's more like a peach color. Apricot, stunning, and it blooms in fall. So this one blooms late September, almost October, or maybe even beginning of October for us here in my zone 6. So they're hardy in zones 5 through 8. They spread by runners, so they do spread, but they almost create like a ground cover. So not a terrible spreading habit. Look at that. So lots of varieties to choose from. If you decide to add mums, maybe invest in a few of these perennial types this year. I know sometimes you can plant the seasonal ones and they can return, but these are just another great alternative. Some Calaminta, which is from the Nepeta family. And also a great late season bloomer that the pollinators love. Look at that. They're all over these. This is the Montrose White Calamint. Nepeta Montrose White. And let's see, it likes full sun. And it gets to be 12 to 18 inches in height and 12 to 18 wide. Hardy down to zone 5 or negative 20 degrees Fahrenheit. Those are $16.99. And they look really pretty with these heucheras here. Silver scrolls, these heucheras here. Really pretty foliage plant. It's a great way to add color to a shadier part of the garden through foliage. This spring I bought a Amsonia Hubrechtii, and I didn't realize that this is how large they would get over time. Look at this, it looks like a shrub. So I better give it plenty of space wherever I decide to plant it. Well, I didn't find the Japanese maple that I was looking for, but I didn't want to leave empty-handed. So I asked the person that was working out here in the yard if they could give me some suggestions for something that could be evergreen or have multi-season interest, and I've settled on this cool little bright shrub here. So let me get closer and I'll show you what it is. This pretty shrub is called Rainbow Luthico, and it is similar to an Andromeda in that it is evergreen and it keeps this foliage throughout the winter. It might lose some of this really pretty new growth color, which is this bright light yellow and pink, but it'll have mostly like a greenish color with a little bit of yellow, is what I understand, for the winter months. And then it blooms like the Pyrus japonica or the Andromeda in very probably early spring. He told me that it blooms after the Andromeda, so if that one blooms in late winter, early spring, this one will probably be sometime in mid-spring. And it is a part sun shrub and deer resistant, which is a huge bonus for me in my garden. And it grows in sort of, he says as it gets older it will grow in an arching kind of habit, and it looks like it gets 3 to 6 feet tall and 3 to 6 feet wide. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed taking a look around Briggs Nursery with me today. I am heading to the checkout, but I thought that I would share a little bit of my visit. If you are local in Massachusetts or to Briggs, it's certainly worth a visit. It is a great nursery. Thank you for spending your time with me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button. And please consider subscribing so you don't miss any of my future videos. And we'll see you soon.